Is the fear of failure the death of your dreams? This is the question I want to answer and explore more deeply in this episode. Welcome to another exciting episode of the High Performance Consciousness Podcast. My name is Matthew Paddy, and again, I will be your host for today's show. So this big question is, does the fear of failure block, trap, deny, or kill the dreams or desires of many, especially in the entrepreneurial space? Because having been around this place and this space for many, many years, I can unequivocally say that I have experienced many fears around failure and the fear of failure itself many times. And yet it has never really stopped me in pursuing a worthy ideal or leaning further into a burning desire and seeking to explore and experience the fulfillment of that desire. And I ask the same of you. When you reduce everything down to what you really want, whether it's in business or your personal life, do you inevitably arrive precisely where you're meant to be, regardless of effort, struggle, or the perception that you have failed, or the degree and amount of failures you have experienced? Invariably you do. And here's why. Because what we perceive as failure is actually a loss of freedom, a loss of choice. The loss of choice or freedom is through a warped perception, basically saying that I wanted this outcome to be experienced. I wanted to achieve this level of growth or this result in my life. And because I did not receive that, neurologically, biologically, emotionally, and energetically, I throw the metaphorical toys out of the cot. And I throw a little bit of a hissy fit and a tantrum and say, why can't things go my way? Why can I see other people achieving and exploring and growing and attaining new heights of accomplishment and achievement, and I can't? When really it's about the perceived loss of control. I don't feel I can control my destiny. I don't feel I can control the outcomes of my efforts. I don't feel I can control my ideal or my ultra or ultimate life experiences. When in fact, you can when you shift your perspective on what failure actually is. So the fear of failure is actually the fear of rejection. It's the fear of the loss of control, or it's the fear of being denied your God-given right, your sovereign right to explore and experience your desired outcomes fulfilled. So when we look at it that way, are failures on the way or are they in the way? Are they on the way or in the way to you experiencing your ultimate reality? The shift in perspective is that they are on the way. They're not in the way. Because perceived failures, or that which you perceive as having failed at, or having failed at not arriving at your determined point or desired result, is actually a signpost. It's information being sent back to you from the field for you to observe and to deconstruct in your own unique way. So the perception of failure has got nothing to do with your worthiness. It's got nothing to do with your deservedness. It's got nothing to do with your capacity or capability. They are merely signposts and key turning points for you to observe and to lean further into, to retrospectively look at and explore why you experienced the end result you did instead of the one you preferred. So a failure means that you took action. A failure means that you lent into an idea of business or your personal life. Failure is feedback letting you know that there was a misalignment. What do I mean by that? It means that you were aligned with a belief, potentially, that you were never going to win, or that you were aligned with a behavior or a set of behaviors that were undermining the fulfillment of your desires. Failure can also represent, maybe looking at it, that did I lean fully into the experience? Did I give it my all? And in giving it my all, did I totally surrender to the experience? Or did I try to overtly or covertly control and manipulate the entire process so that I could, navigate my way around failure or bypass the fear of failure in some way? So these are some of the bigger and deeper questions that you should be asking yourself when you come face to face with a perception of loss or the perception of failure or the perception or the reality of not having arrived exactly where you want to be, or the reality of not having experienced the result that you want to experience. So failures are a point of view. They are just aspects of the growth phase. So alignment is one thing. Am I fully aligned with my desired end? Now you might say, I want to grow my business from 200,000 to $1 million. Or I want to start a business and I've never had one before. So I want to make my first $1,000 or my first $10,000. Or I would like to attract a really loving, deep, intimate soulmate experience. Whatever it's going to be. What is your desired end? And when you become clear, crystal clear to the point of describing it in real time as observing it already fulfilled, writing it out on paper, and you may form it may form as pictures or a storyboard, call it a dream board or a vision board, whatever it may be, or a mind movie, whatever your preference is. Then unless you can come to that point of clarity, you are at the mercy of your past. So first, you're at the mercy of the past because you have undefined your destination. You have not given enough clarity and specificity to the desired experience or set of experiences that you would like to have or to help cultivate and therefore experience. So the failure to be clear and the denial around the lack of clarity that I hear so many entrepreneurs stating, I'm not clear, I don't know how to get clarity, is a secret denial of your own capacity to follow your gut instinct, to actually lean in and take a chance, to make the leap into the unknown. That's what it is. It's a fear of deciding. Because if I decide, then what happens if I fail? And if I fail, then what does that mean for me? Who does that make me? What am I if I fail? So you build this entire construct around the concept of failure, and it's all backwards. It's upside down and inside out. I'm not sure whether that's a song. Upside down and inside out, whatever it's going to be. Essentially, going back to the point that failure is a perception. It's on the way, not in the way of your dreams. Failures are turning points and opportunities for reflection. Turning points and opportunities for you to reflect on, were you fully aligned with your end desires? Were you fully aligned in your thoughts, your actions, and your feelings? Leaning into the pursuit of your desires fulfilled. Now you can answer that at a deeper level. Superficially, you might sort of say, of course I was, I gave it everything. Did you hand over responsibility to someone else? Did you hand over your entire net worth of energy and your dream bank to the possibility of it not succeeding? Are you seeing where I'm going with this? Because sometimes you will come across people that may have lost everything in business or lost everything in life, and they'll feel down, flattened, destroyed, totally unhinged. And they'll think, I gave it everything. But in giving it everything, you lost yourself. Because deep behind the narrative and the storyboarding of I gave it everything, is there a little primer, a little thought, a little feeling that said, I'm going all in the hope that this will change my life, in the hope that this will pull me out of my past experiences and solve all of my problems? Will this pull me into a new destination, a new destiny that allows me to forget my past, forget who I believe myself to be, so that I can walk straight, look people in the eye, and feel comfortable in my own skin? Deeper questions, right? So when we look at fear and fear of failure, they are constructs, and they are constructs of the mind. They are illusions. And so as you look through a different lens at what failure is, it is a textbook, a handbook, a roadmap, a blueprint, a game plan for success. Because until you can observe your failures and yourself inside the failure without making yourself the failure, you can observe yourself inside the failure, meaning how did I feel about it? How did I think about it? How did I act about it? And look deeply within yourself and say, was that really the outcome that I was searching for? Was what I perceive as a failure, in fact, a gift to redirect my focus and put me back on my higher path? Maybe, just maybe. So these failures are also a muscle that gets strengthened within you. The resolve, the commitment, the certainty, the dedication, the clarity, the focus, the alignment. It comes back to that. So did you go all in hoping that you would be resolved or dissolved or absolved of your past? Maybe that's what was your unhinging. Were you half in and half out? Lukewarm will never get you the results you want. You must be burning hot. Cold or lukewarm will not get you the desired results you want. Going all in the hope that it will heal all your past wounds and upgrade your identity or upgrade your concept of self without really doing the inner work, the reflective work, that could be your unhinging too. So the fear of failure is encoded with lessons. Lessons of how can I improve? What could I have done better? What will I choose next time? Where is the slight angle or a shift in my perspective or in my velocity or entry point? How can I make a 1% change or shift to the left or the right, metaphorically, and lean in with that new information? Because you did not learn how to run the moment you were born. Same analogy. You come out, you're gangly, unfamiliar with your body. You're having to calibrate in this atmosphere, in this environment, in this density, in this body you call the self. And as you get to acquire the information and the feedback from your body and from the field, you are constantly learning. And as you are constantly learning, your brain forms maps, sequences, formulas, networks. And as you constantly learn, you are building stronger and stronger and stronger networks through repetition. Repetition produces results. Now, depending what the results are, might mean that you need to look at what you are repeating. Are you repeating the same thought patterns that produce the same results, the same feelings and the same actions that are producing the same results, and therein not liking the results you're receiving? Then you must look at it and say, am I willing and driven and committed to change the end result? That's all you need to ask first and foremost. Am I willing and able and committed to change the end result? Because if the end result is not that which you are already experiencing, then you must look back to how you were behaving, the decisions you were making, the habits that you are either supporting or denying on a moment-to-moment, day-to-day basis. So failure is the progressive learning. It's the progressive, constant reminder that you are evolving. And so from an entrepreneur's perspective, it is often put out there very heavily that unless you're earning this, you're not successful. Unless you've got this size business or have this many clients or are charging this for your value, your coaching, your services, you're not successful. That is the biggest load of crock and BS that exists. And it sets up a competitive nature that is unrealistic and is a total support of the illusion of fear of failure. Fail as often as you can with the understanding that as you fail, as you are failing, when you can observe the failure, you can also ask yourself, what are the lessons in this? What are the lessons inside this turning point? What are the opportunities? Because maybe you missed one thing. One thing equals everything. Maybe it's just one little turn of the dial, one little shift of the needle, one little turn of your perspective or shift in your perspective that's going to make that change. Success is simple. Failure is inevitable along your journey towards success. But if you can look at failure inside the success model as a critical and vital and necessary element for you to grow and to succeed, then why would you deny it? Why would you be fearful of it? So just like back on the baby analogy, as the baby's body becomes more assimilated to this environment, the neural networks are starting to form, the biology is strengthening and able to support itself even more. Then it starts to crawl, then it starts to stand, then it starts to walk, then it starts to run. See what I mean? We often carry our past deeply within our psyche and have had enough to the point, I want change right now. When you've arrived at that point of, I want change right now, I'm done, something has to shift, I'm ready for an upgrade, bring it on, there's a level of impatience. And the level of impatience comes with intolerance. And with intolerance comes the expectation of something more. And all of that pushes hard against you. It resists back against you as a force that seems to be working against you instead of for you. Instead of saying, I am prepared to do the work to observe myself and to observe the lessons within my perceived failures and to take the necessary steps to shift my focus, shift my perspective, shift the needle on my behavior and try something new. Because otherwise, the same is going to give you the same. Working harder is going to give you the same results. Working smarter is going to give you different results. Smartness is not an intellectual process. It's an intuitive process. It's a feedback system that is a two-way mechanism. Just like a pain in the body. A pain in the body is not there to say, hey, something's wrong, go and see a doctor. It's actually there to say, listen to me. Ask the pain in your body, why are you present? Why are you available? Why are you here? What are you trying to tell me? Same with a failure. What is the resistance wanting to share with you? Because every single thing has an intelligence. Every form of thought, feeling, and action has an intelligence. Every residual energy within the body, every outward experience as a result in your field has an intelligence. Ask the intelligence what it's there for, what it's seeking to share with you. What are you missing? And you go back to things like Think and Grow Rich and a lot of the early writings in human potential and New Age thinking. There will be this mastermind sitting around the table with those either alive or having transitioned, and you bring in their consciousness. You ask them for their feedback, for their insights. This is the same as what you were doing with your body, the same as what you were doing with your perceived failures or the letdowns or the resistance that you feel as you're about to turn a corner in your business or your personal life. Sit in the middle of the experience And instead of shunning it, pushing it down, judging it, and undermining your own value, lean in and ask the intelligence that's available. So I'll leave you with that. Hope that's given you some food for thought. There's going to be a couple of concepts you might want to go back and revisit, re-listen to this podcast. So from me here to wherever you are, dream a better dream. And remember, it's all you, baby. See you in the field.